So this is my newest project. This is in early 90s. I want to say it's about a 92 Zetter model 7711. It's a good sized diesel tractor, 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, 8-speed transmission. I bought this thing fairly cheap because I need a good source of PTO horsepower. Also the loader that comes with it's kind of cool for some stuff I got planned this summer. So these machines are not too common in the U.S. They're made in the Czech Republic. They're built like a tank, and from what the Europeans I've talked to say, they're extremely reliable, very well-built machines. This one only has about 1,300 hours on it, so it's a low-hours machine, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this turns out. Alright, so now we're in the process of changing out the hydraulic hoses on this front end loader because some of them, I'll roll in a picture here, they'd seen better days, let's put it that way. These things, they make them aftermarket, so it's one of those deals where it doesn't really fit a particular tractor, but it kind of fits like 30 tractors. And so the hoses kind of go everywhere, and it's not the most ideal situation in the entire world. So we just got to tighten down a few of these. Yeah, check that out. That's a combination of rotten milkshake and like dehydrated yellow. Oh, alright, that one's turning. Alright, are we going? Yes. Alrighty folks, so next thing we gotta do is drain what's left of the transmission fluid in this thing, which is also the hydraulic fluid, as most of y'all know. And the problem is there's at least 2 drain plugs back here. Some tractors have 4 or 5. This one I think only has 2. Oh, that's really on there. And so we got to use both of these scrap bins here, so they're going to smell real nasty next time we throw hot stuff in them. And I have to open these both pretty much at the same time, or else one's going to overflow. Is something wrong with you? Oh, there goes the other one. Oh, caramel milkshake. So I think this is a magnetic plug. Should be. Yeah, I mean, we're really not getting that much filth off of it. Really no more than I would expect, which is a good sign. So I glanced down and there's friggin' watered down maple syrup going everywhere. And I'm like, no, we are not playing this game. For one time in my life, I actually remembered the drain pan and positioned it properly. And there's a hole in the friggin' thing. Hydraulic filter time, and as you can see, this is the legit OEM replacement filter. Probably gonna be some rank fluid in this. For all I know, it's still the factory filter. 2 miles of thread. He says that to be funny, but I think it's actually true. Alright, we got more maple syrup here. Kinda semi-rank filter. It's probably good we're replacing this. So the fluids in this that weren't water contaminated by that cracked shifter boot that let all that water into the transmission hydraulic system, they actually look great. This is the final drive thing, and as you can see, the oil in here looks absolutely mint. It looks like it was just put in yesterday. Looking at this plug thing here, there's almost no grit on it. I just wiped a tiny little bit off. So you know what, I'm actually going to stop draining this because this is still basically new oil even after going on 30 years now. Wait, go. Okay. We're good.
Oh, that sucks. You're just gonna buy that joint now?
Yeah. Alright, so let's see. We're working through really the only serious problem with this thing that's been going on for as long as I've owned it, which is this power steering cylinder. It just absolutely whizzes oil everywhere, and what I've learned from this is 2 things. One, you can get parts for these things shipped directly from the Czech Republic, which I know because I had some show up at my house like an hour ago, which is why we're doing this right now. The other thing I learned isn't so positive. It is that this thing uses a very odd type of power steering setup. Basically, this thing that looks like a hydraulic cylinder, it's not actually a regular hydraulic cylinder. There's like a mechanical valve sensing mechanism thing on the inside is really the only way I can think to describe it. Yeah, so I mean, it's sort of an interesting system. This whole valve body thing here moves forwards and back. And then there's this long section which fits inside the inside of this other cylinder. It's kind of cool, but like I said, if it starts leaking or stops working, there's literally no fixing these, period. That's the takeaway from all that. For that reason, I'm not even gonna bother and try and save parts. I mean, you gotta replace it or get rid of it. That's what I learned. Brand new, straight from the Czech Republic. So new, it's never been so much as cussed at. Well, if nothing else, the fuel filters, they're in it, look respectable-ish. They're not that bad, but I'm still glad we're changing them out. So now it's time to change the oil in this thing, and this appears to be extremely tight, like every friggin' filter thing on the entire machine. This is why I like to work on my own stuff, or failing that, have Steven work on it. Okay, I think I got it. Nothing like having to use a long 1/2-inch ratchet and a cheater bar to loosen the oil drain. Alright, so that oil, it looks nice and black, but I won't say it inherently looks bad. This looks like dirty black oil. I don't see any fuel in it, I don't see any water. I don't see anything other than dark oil. Does it spin off? Oh, it's like a centrifuge. That's actually incredibly cool. Alright, so we got the oil filter off. It only took about 2 hours because there is literally no, like absolutely no worthwhile usable information on how these things work on the interweb. So if anybody finds this video, here's the way how it works. There's a couple of alignment marks here. You can't see them, but it's just a vertical line here and a vertical line here. Now when we reassemble this, we need those to line up. So there's this nut on top. It's some sort of metric fine threaded pattern. And there's no commercially available sockets, to my knowledge, that will reach in here, because if you put a regular socket over this, it hits on whatever these two things are. So the way how we got around that is to take this 24-inch adjustable wrench, you put it over this, and that should just give you enough to spin, but whatever dumbass owned this thing before me over-tightened everything. So we had to take another wrench and put it on this wrench and do like one of these numbers. But once we open this, once you get this nut loose, then this entire thing comes up, and you can see all that sludge which has been slung against the side of this filter. So we're gonna set this aside and clean this out real fast. It all works, everybody. I'm really happy with this. We even have our blinding work light, both flashers. I got the tail lights going. They had 3 wires coming off the back of them, so that threw me for a little bit of a loop. But we got that. We got this wonderful box here. And honestly, this is pretty much what I like in a machine like this. It's mechanically injected, doesn't even really require much to run. Literally just from an electrical standpoint, at least, one good hot lead to the starter, and it'll crank. So we have that. Yeah, really basic controls everywhere. Switches that have a nice, good feel to them and a firm snap for this entire little rewiring project. And I sure hope so, because it was fun, but I'm still ready to be finished with it. Guys, so just took this thing out on the road for the first time and did just a tiny bit of mowing with it, basically just enough to rev the thing up and make sure everything works. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm really pleased. It's a completely usable, operatable machine, and thanks for watching. Cheers.